I had an overseer working for me one time. The handpiece locked up, slashed his arm, off work. Completely avoidable.
You've really got to watch them. They're quite a hard animal. They've got a hard head. They can pick you up by behind pretty easy if you're not watching what they're doing. And I've seen people knocked in the head, bit of a split lip and that sort of thing. People smashing the chest and in the back when you're not watching, and yeah, just knocked to the ground really. I have seen people slip when they're coming out of the pen too.
For a wool handler, the most risk would probably be a handpiece and the shearer, trying not to get in their way and watching out for the handpiece really. I've had a few accidents myself. I've been cut a few times and I've been stabbed a few times in the foot too from, you know, the shearer having a hard time and letting it go.
There's a lot of weight in some of these ewes. Our ewes will weigh on average about 65 kilos, so some of them could be as much as 80, and the shearers have got to tip them over and drag them out, so there's a risk to their backs and so on. If they shear 400 a day, that's a lot of weight to pull.
Sprains and strains is another huge thing for us as a business. You're dealing with a live animal for a start, so it's moving all the time and they are getting bigger, stronger, and obviously a very, very tough job physically.
Wool sheds can be really hazardous, you know, like a lot of the main issues with wool sheds is a lack of maintenance, you know, like broken boards, you know, floors, gratings, especially doors. Being slippery if it's wet is the big issue, both for the steps outside, but also if the floor gets wet from condensation and so on, you've got to be careful about that, because it's the combination of the grease from the sheep and the moisture makes it really wet.
The presses are probably one of our biggest risks in the wool shed. Old manual crank downs and Vanguard presses are becoming a huge issue. Some of them are getting up to and over 70, 80 years old sort of thing, so you don't see the farmers driving around in a Morris Minor anymore. But we have to be prepared to work on those sorts of pieces of equipment, and old overhead shearing plants is another one. We all know that you have to be taught things, it doesn't just happen, so you have to teach people. And our group of people that work in our industry are very unique. They come from all walks of life. Quite often they've come to the industry by default because they don't know how to do anything else and aren't educated.
That's why we're trained to drive cars and we're trained to drive tractors. Why not train someone to work a wool press, or why not train them properly on how to avoid a blown wrist or how to avoid strains and sprains? Training and knowledge is everything.
It's taken me 6 years to get to where I am today, but I feel like I've nailed it down, and training is very important.
I've already seen the benefits of what good training can do in our actual business, and yet I don't believe it is industry-wide yet, and we need it to be industry-wide.
The new digital technology, the online stuff, it's the way of the future. It's so much more convenient and easy. There's not going to be big manuals arrive that you've got to go through and flick through the pages and miss a page here and there and, you know, just get shelved.
E-learning and that sort of thing, this is how our young ones are learning today. They don't read. Nobody's going to read a big manual that tells you must do this and you must do that. These guys are visual learners.
I like to physically watch and learn. It's easier for me than sitting in a classroom. So I have been using my phone actually because I have to teach at work, so I get my phone out and show the girls videos or some points if they don't understand. It's good, it's quick access.
You already see them when they stop work, what they do, out with the phone. They do. It's just a very natural instinct now for people to watch visual.
It is about providing interesting learning experiences and interesting ways to meet obligations, and we mustn't forget that not everybody is literate. In this modern environment, more digital stuff going on, this caters to everybody.
The trouble with farmers is that we all operate on our own little place, and our contact with shearers and so on is with our own contractor and so on. So our level of awareness probably depends on the level of awareness of the shearers and the contractor that come here.
Now, about bringing the shearers and the farmers together as one and providing environments that are safe for the farmers, the shearers, we need to make sure that these tools are used by farm staff.
We're involved because safety on farms is close to our heart, This is another piece that helps make sure that people get home safely. Once it's developed, we will help make sure it's pushed out and that everyone who's got a wool shed has got access to it.
I think this is one of the more important things that has happened to health and safety in the shearing industry in a long time. It'll be a flow-on effect. They'll have this tool, then they'll start doing other things that are necessary to keep their staff safe.
I think Tahi Ngatahi is a great initiative. It has a lot of potential to improve everybody's game, not only the shearers, but the landowners who have wool sheds and can make it a safer place.
We think that any industry that's not training well is not going forward. So we want to see people really go forward, and we want to create those opportunities for them.
Basically, if we can have less injuries, then people are going to be safer in the industry, and the industry itself is going to be more efficient. It's a win-win really, isn't it?
I'd like to see federated farmers drive this initiative so there is better health and safety in every wool shed around the country.